Now look, cars are great, we all know that, but if you want real excitement, real horsepower, you have to go to a world beyond the Ferrari 355. This BBC video is basically an hour-long orgy of jet boats, power boats, helicopter gunships, fighter planes, racing snowmobiles. I therefore hope that your armchair is fitted with seat belts. We begin in the Nevada desert, where every year thousands turn up to watch what is without doubt the fastest motorsport in the world. They build pylons in the desert to mark out a course, and then they race planes round them. One 9-mile lap takes a minute. The rules of this sport are very, very simple. Fly fast, fly low, turn left. I'm at the Reno Air Races, where outlaw types turn up with a selection of World War II fighters that have been tuned to do 500 miles an hour, 50 feet off the deck. In the pits, there are neatly allocated parking spaces, and it all looks cool and professional. But the actual racing has been likened to riding a hand grenade with a pin pulled out. Yes, the planes will blow up. The only question is when. Those who can't afford to spend $1 million buying and tuning old fighters race in the Formula One class using super light carbon fibre planes. The engines are regulated by tough rules, but as far as design goes, it's free-fall lateral thinking. This is the fastest of the lot, the Winged Williams. Slimming Magazine's Plane of the Year. Kind of looks like it was made by Pifco. Goes well, though.
This airplane's capable of running about 310 to 312 miles an hour straight and level on 100 horsepower.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. We like it. It's really fun. Unlike cars, we have the vertical element that we can overtake in. So it adds a whole lot of tactics to a race, as opposed to two cars diving in for one line. Our course has infinite amount of numbers of lines.
But if you touch, that really is it, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. We've had some planes that touch occasionally. It depends on how hard you touch. It's kind of like a Formula One cars. They touch lightly and they swear at each other and keep driving, and this is a lot the same. We pull 6G in each turn minimum, and the airplane's designed around a 12G ultimate structure.
So these race car boys, then, they're wusses complaining about 4G.
Absolutely. I'd trade them 4Gs in a heartbeat.
Maybe you would, and I don't doubt you have it tough out there. But these F1 planes are souffles compared to the main course, the unlimited warbirds. Now then, Turning a 1940s fighter plane into a 1990s racer is quite a complicated thing. Most of the top guys fit a lower, sleeker cockpit. All of them, this one included, have 3 feet taken off each of the wings. Doesn't do much for the agility, but less drag equals more speed. With that in mind, they put tape over all the cracks and they wax and they polish the body. And then there's the engine, a twin supercharged Rolls-Royce Merlin V12. Used to produce 1,500 horsepower. In this, it's 3,000. Now, all that horsepower can create problems. You see, if you fit Spitfire gearing, as they have done with this plane, the propeller can spin so fast that the tips go supersonic. Now, at best, this creates drag and slows you right down. At worst, the blade can simply fall apart, and that, well, that is a really, really bad thing. Sadly, this sport is dying. The supply of old planes is drying up, but even before that happens, air racing may be banned. It's dangerous, and in America, dangerous is the dirtiest word of them all. People regularly get killed. They're mad, but they're not as mad as people who simply go along for the ride. Welcome to my cockpit of a plane which currently goes about twice as fast as Rolls-Royce ever intended. I should have stuck to cars. I should definitely have stuck to cars. Here we go, building it up. We're airborne. I'm airborne in a Mustang P51, made in 1943. Here's something worrying, okay? If a 1940s car breaks down, and it will, a lot, you just coast to the side of the road. But this doesn't understand the concept of coasting. It does a good line in plummeting. Oh, we're going low. We're going really, really low now. This is no more than 50 feet. It's turning. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Oh, my word. A wingtip, it's like that far off the ground. Oh, bloody mighty. What was that? This thing really is fast. We're over Las Vegas already. Las Vegas, twinned with Burton-on-the-Water. Or is it Burton-on-Trent? Or is it neither? Oh, who cares? I love this place.
You make me feel so. You make me feel so.
The trick in Las Vegas is to live your life at 200 miles an hour. Even when you're on water. Water? In Las Vegas? Yes. Since they built the Hoover Dam across the Colorado River, they've created their own inland sea, which once a year becomes a racetrack. This is Formula One powerboat racing, an international series where there are more overtaking moves and more crashes on each lap than in a whole year of Formula One car racing. As spectator sports go, they don't come much better or wetter than this.
Up ahead, where the river runs red,
20 seconds.
the sun is where the river runs red.
The flag is up. We are under starter's
Now
order.
King starts to win the
And
chance.
quickly goes over.
You see, at Silverstone, the track is always the same, but out here, the surface is constantly changing.
That you said.
This means that even Billy Siebold, a 66 times champion, can sometimes get it spectacularly wrong. We've got to get something straight here. These racing engines produce 325 horsepower, and that's about the same as a Ferrari. Now, the boat all in weighs 300 pounds, and that's about the same as a fat person. Fast is too small a word. The acceleration is simply staggering. If you hit the throttle now, 2.9 seconds later, now, you're going 100 miles an hour. You would expect it to be rocket ship fast, but it does have one surprise in store. A Formula One car is made of carbon fibre. A Formula One plane is made of carbon fibre. But this, as you can see down here, is made of plywood. You can see it very clearly on boats that have crashed, including, as you'll recall, Billy Seabold, a man who climbed out of the wreckage and offered to take me for a spin in his specially made two-seater. Was I worried? Yes, a lot. How many of you guys, forgive me for saying this, but get killed?
Well, until we came in with these safety cells, we had 5 drivers killed in 6 races.
Well, that's high-tech.
It certainly is. O-rings.
Right. Pedal to the metal, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go again. Yee-haw! Holy cow! Oh my word, this is really quick! Oh, G-force in a boat? That was unreal! Absolutely incredible! This is the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life! Ever! Ever, 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 ever! My vision has gone completely. Hey, there's a wake here, Bill. What are we going to do about this?
Well, we're just going to go around in it.
Well, that's madness! This is insane! Oh, Lord! Quarter-inch piece of plywood between my backside and water. Oh! The turning! You can't, how can you generate that kind of G?
Well, that's a little idea what it's like out here on a fairly smooth day.
The braking! Oh!
That's good.
It's like there's no way we can have got any pictures because it's just going like that constantly. It's like you've got 50 pile drivers just banging away on you, just constantly. I mean, your vision goes, you're going straight into the sun, you can't see anything, the water's like concrete. It's that Mustang, that P51 Mustang's just nothing. It's nothing compared to that's the most. It was just terror, isn't it? It's just stark terror from the moment you put your foot on the pedal to now.
I know it. I was scared to death the whole time.
This would have scared him, though. Yes, it's a boat, and yes, that is the 2,600 horsepower engine from a Chinook transport helicopter. This is an unlimited hydroplane, and it's good for 200 miles an hour. As in Formula One car racing, the sport's leading light is a chap called Bernie, though this time it's Bernie Little. This shy wallflower of a man is the boss of the awesome Budweiser team.
I had the opportunity to see an unlimited hydroplane a picture of one of them in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I lived in Tampa, Florida. So what I did is I picked up the phone and called the man that owned it and asked him if I'd come see it and get a ride. And he said, sure, come on over for lunch, and I did. And I got a ride, and a couple hours later, I owned an unlimited hydroplane.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Why do you think unlimited hydroplanes are sort of stuck in America?
Well, we're trying to branch out and show the other countries what unlimited racing is about.
What do you think it is about?
I think it's about speed, and I want to go faster. I'm very upset that we're not racing unlimiteds anymore. They have a fuel restrictor on us.
Can you see a day when a 200-mile-an-hour lap's going to come?
Yeah, and you know, before they put the restriction on, we're running 205, 208 down the straightaways, you know, and running it safely. But
then through the turns, you're down to what, 160?
Oh, 170. You know?
170
Yeah,
through the
well, when
turns.
he never takes his foot off. You know, like last weekend in San Diego, we were doing 197, 198 down the straightaway. His foot's on the floor, and he never takes his foot off. And he comes into the corner and he sets it up for the turn and just swings it right on around. His foot never comes off.
How mad do you think you have to be then to get into one of those boats?
Well, I don't have the courage. I've drove a lot of them, and I used to drive them prior to enclosed canopy. When they closed the canopy, my drivers, I've always hired small drivers, so I couldn't get in. I never was attempted after they closed the canopy in.
I don't blame him, and nor would you when you see what happens when things go wrong. As boats go, a hydroplane is fine and exciting, but I know where there's a better one. Sweden. You might think of the people here as peaceful and gentle, but I'm afraid that description is not entirely accurate. Even though there are only 9 million Swedes, their armed forces are 3 times larger than ours. They can field 600 tanks too, and 280 fighters. If there's a neat piece of kit on the market somewhere, they'll buy it. And if there isn't, they'll build it. But now they've gone mad. They've built themselves a stealth battleship.
Nobody has ever seen anything like this before. What we are trying to do is to avoid reflection to the radar. That means that you have to shape the ship in large flat surfaces that will deflect incoming signals. You have to design each detail very carefully. For instance, a detail like a window wiper could destroy the whole idea. In the sound conditions, you could see it with your eyes, but not on the radar.
You've actually had that happen?
Yes.
That must be spooky. What kind of engines did you put in it?
We have 2 diesel engines, and you have 1,700 horsepower each. And that gives the ship a speed of about 50 knots.
50?
Yes.
God, that's faster than a torpedo goes, isn't it? So Sweden's going to have a stealth navy?
Yes.
And no one else in the world will have it?
At least not yet.
Bit of a worry. You know what it means, don't you? The Swedes have come over all Viking again. They'll be sneaking over the North Sea, creeping up the River Humber, and we won't know they're there until our houses catch fire and all our daughters disappear. You know what they're after, don't you? Our elephant, which is kept in a barn here in Shropshire. Now, it's not particularly stealthy, I'll grant you, and nor does it pack much in the way of firepower. But what it does, better than anything else in the known universe, I think, is surprise the enemy into submission. Ready for this? Oh, no, you're not. Oh, my God. So, how does it work? Well, I'm not going to tell you that. This is our first line of defence. Swedes don't tell us how their stealth battleship works. I'm not going to explain how this works. Tell you this, though. It was built in 1949. Come on, elephant. Right. Stealth battleships. Ah. This wonderful Ford-powered Nellie could only have been the brainchild of an Englishman, surely the most eccentric race on Earth. Or are we? This is New Zealand, which is equally green and pleasant, but the people here are even more bonkers. New Zealanders gave the world bungee jumping, but now, perhaps because they have so little to do, they've invented the Zorb ball. I'm speaking to you now from inside the ball, which is suspended on a cushion of air inside a much larger outer ball. Now, the idea is that I'm going to get to the top of a hill and roll down, where centrifugal force will hold me against the side, causing my body to tumble end over end. What a ridiculous plan. Oh my God. Oh, here comes breakfast. And here it comes. Here's lunch. Oh God. You think this is insane and suicidal. Wait till you see what happens when you introduce a New Zealander to a piece of river. When we first came up with the idea of doing this series, I said, fine, I'll go in powerboats, I'll go in jet fighters, I'll go in helicopters, but there is no way, shut up, there is no way I am going whitewater rafting. Look, these are the bones of people who've done it in the past. It is a spectacularly uncool way of dying. Shut up! I have a motto. Never trust anything that doesn't have an engine. These are jet boats, New Zealand's greatest invention, and what they're doing is a 100-mile race up a river. They have engines, so of course I trust them implicitly. So is this the sport you do out here if you can't play rugby then?
Basically, it is when you get too old. When you get too old, you play around with boats.
Are you able to sort of pre-plan, have a look at the river?
You can go up on the day before, but on a day like today where it's raining, the river changes overnight. So you can plan, you know, every corner. Next day you wake up, the river's completely on the other side of the bank. So it's not much point in really doing the river before.
So you're doing it blind?
You're doing it blind at 100 mile an hour, 80 mile an hour sometimes, and just hoping. The biggest problem with the boats are, as soon as the engine fails, you have no steering, you have no brakes, you go where the boat is pointing.
Pay attention. This is a profile of a jet boat. Now there's a hole in the bottom into which the water flows. It goes along into a chamber where it encounters a sort of vaned impeller. Now that squirts the water under pressure along a tube that gets narrower and narrower till it comes out of a nozzle at the back at what scientists call a fair old lick. Now steering, here's the back of the boat, there's the nozzle sticking out. You've no rudder, so to turn left you simply point the nozzle that way. To turn right, you point it that way. But hold on a minute, you're thinking, what's the matter with a propeller? I mean, that simply grabs the water and pulls you along. This grabs the water and pushes you along. However, this is a conventional boat with a propeller sticking out like so. Now this is a jet boat. This means you can drive a jet boat at whatever speed you like in a puddle. So safe, you're probably wondering why I haven't been out in one yet. Well, truth be told, I did my back in that Zorb ball. But thanks to the wonders of modern medicine and these neck braces, I am able, you'll be delighted to hear, to go for a ride. So, how to describe this thing? Well, look at it this way. A supercharged V8 water pump nestling in a soap dish. Whoa! When you're old, sitting on your porch with a nice glass of single malt, it's important to have a lot of cherished memories. But this boat is going to make pretty damn sure that I don't get to be old. I find it very difficult to explain to you what these turns are like. I mean, extraordinary G-force that you have to lift off going down the straight so you can get the power on and thus have steering when you go through the corners. Oh, wow, this is a seriously glorious machine. And so is this, our very own, very fast and ultra-versatile Tornado. The world is littered with fighters. The peace-loving Swedes have the massively powerful Viggen, built by Saab with engines by Volvo. And the Russians have the Su-37, which, well, judge for yourself. But if you're talking fighters, there's only one king. This is the American F-15, the most successful warplane of all time.
I never wanted to fly any fighter except for the F-15. There have been no combat losses of an F-15. To this day, it is still the measure that everything else is judged against.
So, the Americans seem to have this fighter business pretty well sorted out, but they had to learn a painful lesson first. In Vietnam, they believed the dogfight had been consigned to the history books by long-range missiles. The F4 Phantom was therefore not especially manoeuvrable and not desperately fast. It didn't even have a gun. Now this would have been fine if the missiles had worked, but half the time, they didn't.
What happened in Vietnam is we tried to adapt an aircraft, an F4, to a different environment.
Guys ended up in turning fights with MiG-19s, MiG-21s, lightweight, highly maneuverable airplanes. The F4 wasn't built for that environment, and then particularly without a gun.
So there was an impetus to design an air superiority machine, which became the F-15.
It came along in 1973 and was immediately christened the Flying Tennis Court thanks to its huge wings. It could outmaneuver a bird of prey, outrun a bullet, and outshoot just about anything. It was and still is the ultimate air-to-air fighting machine.
There's one bandit spit out northwest 3 miles. Look across the circle for the other one about a mile.
To date, it's shot down 97 planes with no losses.
6 o'clock for
Go into battle with an F-15 and you'll lose.
Okay, we got it. Yeah. Roger, switch, reverse back, come back left.
So, it was basically a sound air-to-air fighter, but the same technological advances that took Joyce Grenfell out of the pilot's debriefing room and made it look like this have turned it into one hell of an all-rounder. It's got the backhand of Jimmy Connors, it's got a serve like Roscoe Tanner, it treats the enemy with the contempt of John McEnroe, plus it's as pretty as Gabriella Sabatini. And it's also as hard as nails.
Survivability, it was also built into the aircraft. You destroy one control surface, you still have another one.
Could it fly then if you shoot one of its tailplanes off?
Sure.
Really?
Sure.
We always laugh in the F-15 community that if we lose a motor, all we're going to do is push the throttle up 2 or 3% on the other one and keep on going.
The Israelis, as a matter of fact, in the early 80s, landed an F-15 with most of one of its wings missing.
Today, however, there's a new F-15, a version that can fight its way to the target, drop bombs, and then fight its way home again. It's called the F-15E, the Strike Eagle.
This is it. Now, you'll probably notice it's got more bulbous bodywork to accommodate its larger fuel tanks. It actually carries 3,500 gallons. Now, that sounds a lot, but with the afterburners on, it's all gone in 10 minutes. Still, larger bodywork means more places to hang bombs. More bombs means more computers. More computers means you need more people. Look up there. It's a 2-seater.
This means I could have a ride, and that meant I needed some training.
Come on in, sit down. Okay, out to the jet, the crew chief will be out there and he'll pretty much strap you in, but you still need to be able to unstrap yourself if we have to get away from the airplane and there's no crew chief around. Straight in, 20-pound pull. Right here is another connection for you. This is where your survival kit is going to connect. You've got another one over there on the other side.
So I have to undo that as well?
You will have to be able to do that as well. Next thing will be your lap belt. That's 4 so far.
4 so far.
Okay?
Whatever you say.
Now this one is you actually connecting to the seat and the parachute. You let the bottom one loose, then you let the top one loose.
Right.
Now, we got to connect you with your personal leads, your oxygen hose and your communication. Now you're connected to the oxygen system. Now you can talk.
How quickly does jet fuel burn?
Oh, this airplane's not going to burn. So you're out there, and the unforeseeable happens. You're flying with Captain Grimwood, and you hit a flock of seagulls, and seagulls go down both intakes and shred both engines.
Right.
And he's trying to restart the airplane, and you're losing altitude, and all at once he says, uh-oh. You don't want to hear him say, uh-oh. But if he does, and he says, we're going to have to get ready to eject, you need to be ready to get out of the airplane. The seat's very capable, but it's very powerful. So if you were to have to eject, the most important thing for you is to get in a good body position. You want to get your butt as far back in the seat as you can get it to get your spine straight. Have your shoulders back against the seat. Have your helmet hard back against the seat. Then you want to have your elbows in, tucked tight to your sides, because you can see if your elbow was sticking out, this would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you want your elbows in tight. And if he says, bail out, bail out, bail out, that's a command. You reach down here, both
I have
hands.
to wait for him to say it 3 times.
You know, you wouldn't have to. If you hear him say it one time,
If he
and
begins
there's
any word with B, I'm off.
okay, you'll have to discuss that with him. If you start to feel a little disoriented and you're not in the immediate takeoff or landing phase, just ask and say, do you mind if I fly a bit? Because that will tend to make you not be sick.
You mean just going along normally?
Just flying. It occupies your mind and occupies your hand,
What,
and you won't.
if
be
I
thinking
fly
about
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you will be as much flying as you can do. I'll let you do, whether you're sick or not. I will hand the aircraft over to you as much as I possibly can tomorrow. With the exception of the takeoff and landing, and if we're dropping a bomb, you can fly.
Right, the final checklist. Being nervous is normal, don't worry about it. Pay attention, ejector seat training, don't eat fatty foods, yes, fine. But there is one last obstacle between right now and going for a flight in an F-15. Mr. 40-a-day man has to have a medical. Hi there.
Hello. All right, let's take a quick look at you.
Oh, right, ears.
So what do you do over in
What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing you on TV when I was over in the desert. Open up. Say hi.
Yeah. In the desert?
Yeah.
I don't do desert TV.
You don't do desert
You ever
TV?
go to Rotherham to see me? Or Wednesbury in the West Midlands?
Drink enough beer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that. And it's all paid for.
Okay. Have you had your life support training yet?
Yeah, I've been measured up for a G suit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens in a G maneuver is all the blood rushes from your head, your heart, everything down in your legs just from the force of gravity when they're pulling that. So that's what the G suit does. It tightens up the vessels in your lower body and trying to keep the blood back up here where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Other things you can do to help yourself out when you feel that blow up, you can just kind of go, and that forces all the blood to here back up here, because what happens is that your peripheral vision starts going black to a tunnel, and if you don't do that, you're going to go out.
I think this is on the wrong way round. I really don't know what I'm doing here. I need some help. Take care of the dog for me, will you, Richard?
Okay, that's burner. Now roll it back out. See the horizon there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't switch it back and forth.
Right.
Air to ground. Bend over, cameraman.
The airplane is not going to explode. It might burn, and it'll burn for a long time before it would ever explode.
I've never even flown a Cessna before, and they're going to let Mr. Nervous loose in a Mach 2 petrol tank with wings.
They've never had an Eagle explode, trust me.
And 1-2, confirm we're cleared.
Oh, he's just asked me if I'm all ready. He must keep joking. There we go.
15 seconds.
See ya.
15 seconds up.
Arrow check. Why did I leave the Rotherham advertisement? Yep, I'm ready. Brakes are off. Okay, this acceleration is, I guess, well, it was similar to a car, but now it's way beyond that. Huge vibration there. Look knows how fast we're going now. It's hard. Oh, we're up. We're airborne. I'm airborne in a $50 million jet. Oh, wow, what a morning. And there's the other plane right ahead of us with its afterburners on. He's just going straight to the moon. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. There's a whole bunch of G there. My trousers exploded. And we're just going straight to the heavens, banking over now. Kind of upside down, and oh, it's hard to tell which bloody way up I am.
Okay, we've managed to achieve what a jumbo jet would take about 3 weeks to do in our 5 seconds. This is one serious aeroplane.
Code is 4712.
There's the other jet. I can't believe this, ladies and gentlemen. There's only about 10 RAF officers who spent their entire lives training to go in fast jets who've ever been in this, the king of them all. And here I am.
Take the airplane.
Whoa, he's gonna let me fly! This is it! Let me just turn this off. My camera brought along for the ride.
We're starting some maneuvering. I am roll. Just stick the show.
Just watch 18,000.
Push your stick.
I'm doing this! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm flying the... I just went upside down. I did a roll! And an F-15! I did a roll!
Okay, airplane, second.
Oh! God, if I ever do take up flying and they put me in a Cessna and say, flown anything before, I'll be able to go, oh yeah, once. Whoa, here we go. There's some G. Oh, there's a lot of G. Oh, that all look ugly. Well, heading straight for the heavens now.
Okay, we're 90 degrees nose high right now.
90 degrees, nose high. We're absolutely pointing at the stars.
Okay, now we're rolling over.
We're going to roll over at 18,000 feet. Oh, this is just absolutely, unbelievably fantastic. Whoa! We just did climb 17,000 feet in 11 seconds. Oh, it's made me feel ill again.
We're gonna go down. Okay, take the airplane.
No, it's no good. I'm going to throw up again. Sorry.
If you fly, you might not throw up.
No, it's coming now.
Okay.
Roger, 8,000 and 18,000.
Roger, 8-18.
360.
I'm back. Chris just told me the last chap he flew with threw up 11 times. I'm only on twice.
Do you want to do a loop?
You do a loop. "90 minutes in an F-15 was, without any question or shadow of doubt, the most exhausting thing I've ever done. I have never, ever felt so ill and so tired. And things are going to get worse. You see, this is the F-15's replacement, the F-22, which, rather worryingly, is going to take fighter planes to new and uncharted heights. And I think that's staggering. I mean, this is what they're doing on one side of the world, while on the other, they're still doing this. But even in Lapland, among the reindeer herds, technology now plays its part in the shape of the snowmobile. In the days of snowshoes, Bambi farming was nearly as exhausting as backseating in an F-15, but the snowmobile has changed all that. Even the dogs have got in on the act. In deep snow like this, it's amazingly hard to ride, but it's quite a simple little device. You've got a pair of handlebars here, which, oh, and it's moving anyway. Turn the two skis. You've got an engine at the front, and it drives. It drives a sort of tank track thing here underneath. It really is a go-anywhere vehicle, and it's completely revolutionised life in the north. The snowmobile had a shaky start. Back in 1924, when people walked fast, a bunch of Swedes replaced the wheels on a Model T with skis and a tank track. They were so pleased with their invention that they took it to Henry Ford, who they felt sure would buy the rights and put it into full-scale production. They were to be disappointed.
Henry Ford told them to get out of his office, which you might think was a mistake to rival the Edsel, the Pinto, or even the Mark III Cortina. But it wasn't. The understeer is catastrophically bad. Oh dear. Got character though. It's absolutely hopeless in deep snow, and if you find a hard surface like this one, it was inevitable, really. The whole thing ended in tears. The inventors went broke and their remarkable machine for 40 years was left to rot on the scrap heap. In fact, just 2 hours before it was due to be crushed and destroyed forever, a Swedish guy came along, bought it, and has restored it into what you see now. A reminder that he who dares doesn't necessarily win. The problem with the Model T was simple. It was a car. It wasn't until the 1950s, when they started basing snowmobiles on bikes, that things really took off.
What you're watching now is one of the world's best snowmobilers, Robert Arberg, on board one of the world's best snowmobiles, the Yamaha 700 SX. The combination is pure poetry. Right, that's enough Wordsworth. Let me introduce you now to the world of drag snowmobiling. A world where only one thing matters: speed. I want to talk to you a little bit about the 4.6-litre Range Rover. You see, it weighs 2 tons and is propelled along by a 230 horsepower engine. Now, this is so light, you can pick it up with one hand, and yet it is propelled along by a 240 horsepower engine. No way am I going to ride it. I called my wife last night, and she agreed. She said, "Don't get on it, Jeremy, you'll kill yourself. Just don't." The director, on the other hand, he said, "You will ride it." So, we're now into a battle of wills. So, this is the throttle then, is it?
Yes, it's throttle.
And this is the brake?
Brake.
Which is important?
Very important.
Because I'll be going quickly?
Yes.
And what does this do?
This is, if you pull off, you have a stop engine.
Oh, it'll come off and stop the engine. Am I in the right riding position now,
No, this is not right. It's leg, but here.
So I kneel down?
Yes.
Well, this is comfy. Right, and the engine? It's got a boost gauge, it's turbocharged,
It's
yeah?
turbocharged, yes.
So when does that cut in?
It comes in to 6,000.
6,000?
Yes.
And then what, the front lifts up?
The front lifts and everything move very quickly. So you must put very hard in the...
Hold tight.
And
Hold tight.
This winkle you must have.
And down?
Yes.
I cannot believe I'm doing this. They say life is a series of experiences. Ah! Well, this is like going to the dentist. Right, well, here we go then. I threw up in an F-15 and nearly matched my trousers in Scandinavia. I want to go somewhere where nothing ever happens. Canada. Yeah, Canada.
Now, at this point, various Canadians will be bouncing up and down, arguing that they've produced an abundance of famous people like Neil Young and Donald Sutherland. But we all know that the only things they produce in abundance are
crops.
And this means the most exciting vehicle you're likely to find in Canada is not a jet fighter or a snowmobile. It is, of course, that master of the prairies, the combine harvester, whose performance given a long run-up is best described as statesmanlike.
Machines like this cost more than £100,000, so you would expect farmers to take great care of them, drip feeding them with gently warmed milk through a pipette and tucking them up at night with Winnie the Pooh stories. But what they do actually is paint them bright, vivid colours and then crash into each other. On purpose.
I'm a farmer, and I like to wreck stuff.
He's not alone, which is why every year a whole bunch of farmers sumo wrestle with their old farm machinery. The idea is to bash your opponent's combine to bits, or push it out of the ring, or better still, push it over.
What happened?
What happened? Ah, my teammate came at me a little hard, got under my tire and started lifting me over.
You've had a rollover?
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
Oh, no, not at all.
How does this stack up to car demolition derbies?
Oh, a lot more fun. You got a big outfit of something like this when you're doing your crashing. You got a lot more power to push with these big tires. It's a riot. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, this one's a little honey. I know it belongs to. Blimey. My own combine, and I've no idea how it works. Tim, I don't even see a gear lever. Where's the gears?
The gears are right here.
Yeah.
You have your reverse and first, and then down, and your second and third.
What's that, reverse?
Yes.
First.
And then neutral. Third.
Third.
And second.
Second. Right, I'll forget that. This one is what? Handbrake?
No, this is your variable speed to speed up your ground speed once you're going.
The seat's eaten me alive and we haven't even started. Look at that seat. So these aren't throttles then?
No. This is that speeds you up. This is your throttle for your motor when it goes wide open.
Well, what are these then?
Well, that's your brakes. One's for the right wheel and the other one's your left wheel brake.
Right, I think I've got that. What's this one do?
This one is unhooked right now. It's for your table.
Oh, we don't need that?
No.
These?
If you pull both down, that ejects your seat.
I'm going to need that. A lot of sharp objects in here. I'm going to bleed, aren't I?
Well, that's okay.
I'm going to bleed.
Blood is cheap.
And the driver of this combine right here, Jeremy Clarkson.
I am actually quite nervous. I still don't know how to drive the damn thing. Right, stop! Stop. Is that reverse? That's reverse. Right.
How about it for you, ladies and gentlemen?
Wait for the klaxon now. Who do I go for first? So we're off. Come on, I could get him. I could have had him then. I want more speed than that. I got a hit. I'm taking his tyre out. I'm taking his tyre clean out. Oh, where's reverse? Tactics are very simple here. Just run away. Oh, no, no, no. I'm doomed. I've stalled. Start! Start, you vicious bastard! They're coming at me from both sides. Oh! I've just had this brilliant idea for a new series. Duvets with sort of wild flowers. It's no good. I'm doomed.
Ah, my wish is granted. Finally, I get to do a nature program.
We're really, really close here. I'm in the woods on the border of Georgia and Alabama in the southeastern part of the United States. And I'm on the trail of the most menacing, deadly predator on the whole American continent. Whoa, whoa, look, there's a clearing. That's where they hang out. Yes, yes, look here. Look. There it is. You see it? Look, get down, get down, get down. Believe me, that's awake right now. It's got its radar on it, can see us as sure as eggs are eggs. What we'll do, oh, that's fantastic. Well, we'll wait till the morning. Come back then. We can get up really, really close. That's brilliant.
This is the $10 million helicopter gunship they call the Apache. Well, you couldn't call it Norman, could you? It floats like a dragonfly, but stings like a whole swarm of bees. I'll tell you how good it is. Our old friends in the Swedish army, having tested all the competition, have just bought a whole flock of them.
Now, strangely, the Chinook transport helicopter, the one with the two blades back and front, is faster than this, and so is its Russian equivalent. A lot of civilian helicopters will outmaneuver it, but you have to admit that no helicopter on the planet is quite so devastatingly ugly.
This helicopter is the Corps Commander's best asset. It's the most mobile. We can pop up from behind trees. We can move out from the side of a hill laterally.
It is basically a hovering platform onto which you can bolt any weapon that takes your fancy. And no, it doesn't run on unleaded.
Our job is to go deep as fast as we can, kill as many things as we can, and then get out.
The Apache carries 8 Hellfire missiles, each of which accelerates from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour in 2 seconds. They may only carry 14 pounds of explosives, but that is enough to completely annihilate a steel-reinforced concrete bunker, and there's still enough energy left over to make an 8-foot hole in the ground on the other side. Rather worrying, really.
The Hellfire is our primary weapon system. We use that for long standoff targets. We engage primarily heavy armor targets.
A tank?
Yes, sir, a tank.
And how much of a mess would a Hellfire make of a tank?
A Hellfire makes a really good mess of a tank.
And how much do they cost?
The Hellfires today are running about anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000, depending on the model that you're using at the time.
$60,000?
Yes, sir.
You need to make sure you're going to hit it then?
Yes, sir.
Hitting things really isn't a problem for the two-man Apache crew thanks to its sophisticated targeting equipment. It has Star Trek technology right now in the shape of its nose-mounted camera.
How do you make the camera look where you want to go?
Well, right here on the aircraft, we have sensor surveying units that spray out IR energy. There's one on each side of the pilot's head.
What's IR energy?
It's infrared energy.
Yeah.
And we have these infrared detectors on 2 on each side of the helmet. And using geometry and trigonometry, it triangulates the position of your head, and it sends a signal to move the sensor to where your head is looking.
So you turn your head?
And the camera turns with your head.
And the gun as well?
If you want it to, if you select the gun as your weapon.
It all looks terribly complicated, but it gets worse because the Apache is at its best after dark.
It's this flying at night business that fascinates me. How on earth do you see where you're going?
We have a sensor that's mounted 10 feet forward and 3 feet down from the pilot's seat that picks up infrared energy, converts it through electrical signals to a video signal, and it projects it on this monocle right here that we clip to our helmet right in front of our eye, so we can see our whole world in infrared. You have a binocular rivalry. Your left eye is usually mainly focused on the cockpit instruments, making sure all the instrumentation is correct and all the systems are working correctly, and your right eye is used to fly.
You're joking?
No, completely serious.
So you can operate both eyes independently of one another?
Yes, we learn how to do that.
Okay, you're sitting in a helicopter being shot at, yeah, and the thing's violently moving around, and you've got one eye looking at a monocle, and the other one looking at the thing, and you're trying to find enemy targets.
Right.
How on earth do you keep it all together?
Practice.
And here they are, practicing in their fire-spitting computers, the Viper Squadron, motto, strike to kill. It's very American, but I suppose calling it the Gerbil Squadron with the motto, I hope we don't get shot down today, wouldn't be all that appropriate.
Is this a big boy's toy?
You can look at it as a big boy's toy because it's very maneuverable, you know, and when you get to go out on live fire exercises, you know, you get to just have fun with it. We get paid to do this, so it's not a better deal around, I don't think. I love what I do. It's a good job. I'm glad I can serve my country doing something like this. And if you have to go to combat, this is what I'd want to be in.
Right, that's it. You can watch the tape again, of course. I've got to drive home in that. Rather boring, really.